Good afternoon, everyone. So this is going to be my version of what I think about the upcoming EU referendum, which is happening on the 23rd of June, which is not far away. Let me start by saying that I appreciate fully this is an emotive issue. Everyone has their own point of view, which I entirely respect, and let democracy take its course, etc. And I'm not trying to sway people one way or the other. I'm just going to give what I think about this. I've thought a long time about the European Union, and frankly, it, to my mind, is a multi-year project. The European Union. It will evolve. It will have its ups and downs. It will have times when we are more in favour of it and less in favour of it. Having said that, I think the European Union has achieved a great deal, at least in my lifetime. What has it achieved? It's certainly achieved a single market. That was not there when I was a kid. It has certainly achieved a single currency. It has achieved a uniform level of interest rates. So instead of having multiple currencies and each country having to reserve their own central banks, manage their own currencies, manage their own interest rates, adjust themselves to the ups and downs of the world economy at an individual level, this is all handled at European Union level, which I think is a far better place, certainly for the smaller countries in Europe and arguably also for the larger countries, because it takes away the problem of having different interest rates across Europe, having the issue of how to manage trade affairs outside Europe. At the moment, if, for sake of argument, a country outside Europe wanted to start a trade war with, say, Britain or France, the response would come from Europe. It wouldn't come from just Britain or France. So, say, for example, the tariffs came on goods from this country, the retaliation would come from Europe as a whole, which makes it very difficult for any country to start a trade war with an EU member. That's just one of the factors. If we went out of what Europe, if we sort of put aside what Europe has achieved, where I think Britain has benefited from Europe, I think Britain benefits from the single movement of principle, from the freedom of people within Europe to move around. It certainly enhances career prospects for, I think, everybody in Europe. It makes it possible for people to retire in Europe, should they want to, later on in life, without the hassle of going through immigration and residency and with all the bureaucracy that came with it before. I think the European Union has also been a strong voice for setting standards within Europe, harmonizing standards that probably weren't there before. One example of this are the beaches of this country, which had to be brought up to an EU standard, and for some years were well below that standard. It's a good constraint on governments. It's a good constraint on the ability of some countries to make their own rules. I like the fact that trade rules and in a number of areas are harmonized. I think that's very much a good thing. Finally, I see that Europe is, the world these days, and Europe is similar, is organized as trading blocs. That's the way the world is these days. You have different trading blocs all over the world. You would not want to be in the position of, say, Turkey, which is on the periphery of a trade bloc, but can't be part of that trade bloc. You wouldn't want to put Britain in that position, being on the periphery of the EU, which is 25% of global GDP. It is the single largest trade bloc in the world. You wouldn't want to be outside of that trade bloc. That, I think, would be a disaster. I really do. I think Britain needs to be part of the European Union. But it is a package of measures. There will be things that maybe people are not 100% on. but there are large things that are positive about Europe, and you need to view it from the point of view of a whole package. And broadly, I think what Europe has to offer this country is significant, and outside Europe is a massive uncertainty and potentially a problem, in years to come, when we are viewed as unattractive because we no longer offer that gateway into Europe. Europe provides this country with a market that we can access, but also for our expertise. We are able to attract inward investment on the basis that we can access different markets in Europe efficiently, and that's very important. We would not have the same level of inward investment if that was no longer the case. So obviously I'll be voting to remain in. I think that's the best for this country, but I entirely respect people's point of view. Interestingly, we had a family poll just a few weeks ago, and I was surprised by this. Of the 7 people that took part in this poll, I was the most convinced with the case for Europe, and 4 people were against, were leave, and 2 undecided. So I was very surprised at that, and I'm hoping the country gets to a more balanced opinion. So best wishes to you all, and we await the outcome with some expectation, but also some hope that it will be resolved the best way for the UK. Thanks.